Give me your view on what you think the security is in reality to the public data center. How would you start?
Yeah, I think that's still, those physical constraints are still there, just purely on the basis of how the data centers are constructed and managed and secured. I think the other key thing on this is obviously your identity, gaining access to those services. Yeah. And how you get in there. So this is where we use Azure Active Directory, is that key repository of identity, you know, what you can do and where you can do it. And taking that you can still build on it and still have those constraints at the end. So that identity I can configure and say, we've got a comprehensive list of role-based access that says, I can only do what somebody allows me to do, okay. You know, and that then falls true and follows through to those services that when we look at the software, the access and the inspection layers, because again, those are still services, or they could be elements of infrastructure as service in there, but to get to them, to manage them, I still need that identity, and that is a key element to that, and that controls your access to the endpoint, as you said, and the data at the end.
Excellent. So I mean, from my view, I always say that the security group, which is a feature that exists within Azure, network security group specifically, give you the ability to do what was traditionally required a firewall to achieve, because you couldn't restrict layer 3 and 4 access to something without a firewall. But now that's available through network security groups. So my focus today when I talk to my customers is more aligned with the protecting of the software through a mechanism in line, or protecting and inspecting for that layer 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, as you go up the chain.
Yeah,
8.
I mean, we see with the network security groups, if you need to segment or you know segregate elements of your application, you could do that with separate network security groups or NSGs, yeah. And only allow the appropriate protocols and ports to be open across those. So again, you can have unidirectional or bidirectional, whichever suits and whichever is right in those scenarios.
Yeah, I mean that's the east-west scenario in a nutshell.
Exactly, yeah.
So I mean, what I'd like to say about that particular situation then is when I moved to the cloud, the data side adds one additional tier on top of the rest of them, which is the idea of integration. Mm-hmm. Because in the past, we had this idea of everything was inline, individual. There were separate components, separate siloed teams. Mm-hmm. Now all these things need to be in one chain to be successfully deployed.
Absolutely.